What's up, everybody? It's me, E-Man, from E-Man's Movie Reviews. I'm sorry, I'm just a little on edge because, every time I do these horror movies, like some weird stuff happen in the background or, lights be flickering and stuff, and I'm just, I don't like playing that game, so looks like everything is cool today. Anyway, today we are going to review Annabelle Comes Home. Okay. Cool. All right, let's do this. Ah! Y'all saw that? I'm going to church. All right, let's get into a quick intro. The Warners have a locked room in their house to keep evil spirits within, but apparently it's not strong enough to keep stupid people away from letting all those ghosts loose. Enough of that, let's get right into the good.
The good.
One of the absolute best things about Annabelle Comes Home is the creepy, eerie atmosphere that is throughout the entire movie. The director did a fantastic job of establishing an atmosphere that submerged audiences into a 1970s world that also feels like a total nightmare as the story progressed. Some people may be even further terrified given the fact that there are no smartphones, internet, or any type of modern day technology available, but that's neither here nor there. What made the movie's setting work so well was a number of interesting things. In some scenes, we had some very dimly lit areas where only a ray of light would be shown to highlight a character or maybe something else. In other instances, the scenes would be covered with a thick fog, or maybe even more frightening, we would be in a dark room with maybe only a flashlight available. All of these created the perfect setup for ghosts and jump scares to really keep you on edge for the entire film. Now, after those spooky scenes and situations are all set up, the film kicks into second gear with some really solid cinematography. If you're a fan of the Conjuring franchise, then you'll probably notice some very familiar camera tactics when it came to showing some of the ghost scares. While it was a little disappointing to see some recycled scare tactics, they were still pretty effective in this movie nevertheless. Now, to be more specific, there was a scene in this film that looked extremely familiar to that epic scene of the nun in the Conjuring 2 film. Aside from that, my personal favorite moment was whenever there were multiple things happening within the same frame. If you pay close attention, oftentimes there'll be very subtle things happening in the background of the scene while the main character could be doing something else. This type of camera work really helps to mess with your mind as a viewer because you might be focused on what the main character is saying or doing, and all the while something else could be moving in the corner of your eye. This was just yet another excellent way to really drum up that fear factor in this film. One other positive is how the camera shots were used in the movie to kind of like subvert your expectations. You could almost tell that the director knows exactly what audiences will expect, and he'll constantly toy with those expectations. Sometimes they will pay off with a well-timed jump scare, and sometimes they'll just be a total fake out. This film really does a good job of making those jump scares count rather than just throwing them in there just to get a cheap reaction. Now, when it came to the acting in this movie, overall, I thought it got the job done. I thought Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson were solid, although I kind of wish that they had a little bit more screen time. The strongest performances probably came from the characters of Mary Ellen and Daniela. I think the reason why they stood out so much, besides being the lead characters in the movie, was because their emotional reactions in many scenes were very relatable. When they were scared out of their minds, it was really easy to empathize and connect with them in those specific moments. Now, besides those two female leads, and by the way, shout out to Bob because Bob's got balls, I thought there was another unconventional supporting character in this film that I thought was great. And that character was the Warrens' room in that household with all those cursed objects in it, because that room in itself felt like a character. There were so many interesting items throughout that room that each object seemed to express a different story as we experienced them. Speaking of which, the Warrens' room felt like a treasure trove of like so many potential future stories. Similar to how the Conjuring franchise spawned its spin-off movies, you'll quickly notice a lot of hints of future movies that could be made given the various ghosts that inhabit the objects in that room. I thought it was a very cool way to get people potentially invested in future movies, and at the same time it provided a number of possible ways to just scare audiences. Okay, enough of that, let's get right into the bad.
The bad.
Unfortunately, Annabelle Comes Home is yet another horror movie that is plagued by a character that does really stupid things. For as much as I like the character of Daniela, her curiosity fell into the typical horror trope of stupid decision making. I think the film missed a very good opportunity to kind of drive home Daniela's emotional motivations for her actions, but instead they just had her do obviously dumb things multiple times. It got kind of annoying because it made her character's actions feel like they were just convenient plot devices to get the movie going. It's kind of disappointing because the story offered other, more authentic ways for the plot to unfold, but the choices that they made her character choose felt kind of cheap. Okay, enough of that, let's get right to the reason.
The reason.
Annabelle Comes Home is a scary fun time with a doll that, well, you'd never want to play with. While this film does have some minor flaws that most horror films commit, it's still overall a pretty good movie. I don't think it's going to give anyone nightmares by the end of the movie, but I do think most people will have a good enough time enjoying the scares and the terrors. Now, as for where Annabelle Comes Home ranks within the Annabelle trilogy, I'd probably say that Annabelle 2 is still at the top for me, then Annabelle Comes Home is next, and then way at the bottom it'll be the first Annabelle movie. So when it comes to the rating for Annabelle Comes Home, I've got to give it an 8 out of 10. Now, the interesting thing with this movie is that I think you're going to get two different experiences depending on how you watch it. If you watch it with an audience in a theater, you'll probably laugh and be scared at the same time. Now, if you dare to only watch it at home with the lights off, then you'll probably experience more of the scares and less of the laughs. Either way, be sure to check out Annabelle Comes Home whenever you get the chance. Now, when you do go see Annabelle Comes Home, be sure to come on back to this video and let me know what you thought about it. I'd also like to know where Annabelle Comes Home ranks for you among the Annabelle trilogy. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I always appreciate you all taking the time to watch my videos. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.